Welcome to my presentation. My name is Jake Peterson, and I will be discussing intrusion detection systems. What is an intrusion detection system? Simply put, an intrusion detection system, or IDS, is a device or software application that monitors a network for malicious activity or policy violations. A more in-depth description is, within a network, traffic is constantly generated. In order to maintain security and prevent outages within the network, events are constantly monitored. Numerous amounts of event management systems are out there to gather as much information as possible. Instead of meticulously analyzing all of that information, intrusion detection systems were created. These intrusion detection systems simplify the events on a network by analyzing any possible malicious activity or violations that occur. Once discovered, suspicious events will be reported, collected, and notified to administrators. More complex detection systems are even able to respond to intrusions upon discovery. In the diagram on the right, you can see an example of a network which has both an NIDS and HIDS deployed. This is just one example of many variations you could have with intrusion detection systems. Now, let's dive into the types of intrusion detection systems. Here you can see the wide variety or classifications of IDSs. There are also subsets of intrusion detection systems, which are signature-based detection, anomaly-based detection, and stateful protocol analysis. Organizations can customize and deploy multiple detection systems at different points within their network. When first deploying, they will need to fine-tune their IDS products by properly setting up the intrusion detection systems to recognize what normal traffic on the network looks like as compared to malicious activity. IDS and firewalls are both related to network security, but an IDS differs from a firewall because a firewall looks outward for intrusions in order to stop them from happening. Network intrusion detection systems are set up at a planned point within the network to examine incoming and outbound traffic. Traffic is then analyzed and compared against a library of known attacks. If an attack or abnormal traffic is found, the system alerts the administrators. The online classification deals with this traffic in real time. The disadvantage for this is the need to scan all inbound and outbound traffic, which would cause a bottleneck and decrease the overall speed of the network. The offline classification deals with stored data to process if there was an attack or not. A classic example of an NIDS is installing it on the subnet where firewalls are located in order to see if someone is trying to crack the firewall. NIDS can be also combined with other technologies such as artificial neural networks to increase detection and prediction rates. Below are some common NIDSs. In the diagram, you can see that NIDS will typically be near the entry point of the network. Equipped with a packet sniffer to analyze all incoming and outbound traffic, NIDSs will add some level of security and protection. Snort is the most common NIDS. Featuring a full customization of network rules, you can create alerts specifically for your network. You are also able to create rules based off of 5 different categories giving that user huge amounts of detection ability. The best of all, Snort is free. Host-based intrusion detection systems utilize OS auditing and the analysis of system calls executed by program applications. Most often, host intrusion detection systems are designed with the most comprehensive program for detection, making it the most accurate detection system. A HIDS will back up your config files so you can restore files if there was an incident to occur. HIDS will typically be placed on every device in the network, meaning there will be a centralized control module. Problems with this detection system are that the initial setup and maintenance are user dependent, meaning the admin will need to install and update IDS on all user machines. A vulnerability with this defense is that if an attacker was able to control a machine, they will have access to modify the IDS binaries. Here is an example of HIDS. You can see that HIDS is present on each machine in the network. This example shows log files being circulated to the control module to be compared for differences or malicious activity. Protocol-based intrusion detection systems are comprised of a system or agent that would consistently reside at the front end of a server, controlling and interpreting the protocol between a user or device and the server. The main idea is to secure the web server by regularly monitoring the HTTPS protocol stream and accept only the regulated protocols. The disadvantages of PIDSs are the inability to detect software tampering and possibly allowing spoofed packets through. Unfortunately, these disadvantages would make PIDS on its own very susceptible to an attack. The best case scenario would be to deploy PIDS with an additional system or firewalls. Application protocol-based intrusion detection systems is very similar to PIDS, but it resides within the group of servers. The purpose of this is to identify intrusions based upon the communication of application-specific protocols. It identifies the intrusions by monitoring and interpreting the communication on the application-specific protocols. For example, this would monitor the SQL protocol as it interacts with the database in the web server. APIDS shares the same disadvantages as PIDS, so you'll commonly see this deployed alongside other systems. Intrusion detection and prevention systems hold almost all of the same attributes and benefits from our previously talked about detection systems, but they come with an addition of trying to stop malicious activity when found. They first detect or identify malicious activity, then log and report that to the administrators. Then they can attempt to block and stop the attack. They use several response techniques and hope that the IDPS will be able to stop the activity. Using strategies such as changing the security environment by reconfiguring a firewall, dropping suspected malicious packets, resetting a connection, or blocking traffic from an offending IP. IDPSs can monitor and manage entire wired or wireless networks, perform behavior analysis, and even monitor singular hosts similar to host intrusion detection systems. In addition, organizations use IDPSs for other purposes, such as identifying problems with security policies, documenting existing threats, and deterring individuals from violating security policies. NIST's Guide to Intrusion Detection Systems and Prevention Systems says IDPS have become a necessary addition to the security infrastructure of nearly every organization. In the diagram, you can see that an IDPS would be deployed near an entry point of a network, similar to an NIDS. This would ensure that as soon as malicious activity is discovered, the IDPS can act, hopefully before it gets within the network. For each of our detection systems talked about, different detection methods are possible. From signature-based to stateful protocol analysis, our detection systems will be equipped with one of these methods. Another advantage of IDPS is that it can be equipped with multiple detection methods to provide more broad and accurate detections. Signature-based detection monitors packets in the network and compares with pre-configured and predetermined attack patterns known as signatures. This is great for known attacks, but not good for a brand new threat. If a threat was being carried out live by an attacker, the possible randomness from the attacker could also go undetected. For signature-based IDS, there will be a lag between a new threat discovery and its signature being applied to the IDS. During this lag time, the IDS will be unable to identify the threat, thus leaving your network vulnerable. Signature-based detection may also require frequent updates to the signature database to ensure the most up-to-date signatures. Anomaly-based intrusion detection systems were primarily introduced to detect unknown attacks due to the rapid development of malware. The basic approach is to use machine learning to create a model of trustworthy or normal activity and then compare new behavior against this model. The goal is to identify significant deviations in activity. If you look to the right, the diagram there points out an anomaly due to its significantly higher result in value compared to most of the others. This approach yields benefits for unknown attacks, but it also suffers from false positives, which is when a legitimate activity may also be classified as malicious. So if that anomaly there might not have been a malicious attack, it could have just been normal activity that just happened to be up there due to maybe introducing a new device into the network. It would be blocked since it is an anomaly. New types of what could be classified as anomaly-based intrusion detection systems are being tested by Gartner as user and entity behavior analytics. Stateful protocol analysis detection is the comparison of known protocol activity versus observed events. Vendor-specific profiles will define how a given protocol should or should not be used. Stateful protocol analysis is capable of understanding and tracking the state of a protocol. For example, FTP starts in an unauthenticated state. Only a few commands should be seen in this state. If commands that require authentication occur, then this can be labeled as malicious activity. Notice the diagram on the right, which is the flow process for stateful protocol analysis detection. The IDS will pull from a database and use that expected protocol behavior to compare against the behavior it's receiving. If it's the same, no action will occur. If it's different, an alert will be triggered. An alert could also be a prevention method via dropping packets if this is combined with an IDPS, which is the prevention system. I have included this graphic from DNSstuff.com, which recommends most of the free intrusive detection systems out there. I thought this would be helpful for individuals trying to determine which IDS is best for them. As you can see, each IDS comes with many features and abilities. As you know by now, there are various options when choosing an intrusion detection system. In order to choose the best setup for your network, you should analyze items such as how large your infrastructure is, the potential costs, if your detection system will need to perform specific tasks, the amount of initial configuration, or if you'd like to customize your alerts. All of this can play into the part of which IDS is best for you. In the bottom right is the diagram from an earlier slide. This diagram places a network intrusion detection and prevention system at the entry point of a network, which can prevent and protect against several attacks. Combining and deploying a host-based IDS and IPS on each device will then secure this network even more. As you can see, there are the host-based IDS, IPS on the servers. I feel that this diagram would be my ideal setup in a large-scale network to make sure that I am not allowing any malicious activity occur. I hope you enjoyed my presentation and have now gained some knowledge of intrusion detection systems. Attached at the end of my presentation are my references as well. Thank you.